And good morning, everyone. Here we are. Welcome to another live Art Business Academy Q&A session. Today is Friday, June 10th, 2022. It's good to be back here with you. I am coming to you from our Pine Top Gallery. We have made it. It feels like it's been about a month since our broadcast last Friday. It has been so crazy and hectic getting everything moved up here. Since we spoke last Friday, I've made two trips up the mountain. One last Friday that I mentioned, I was headed up here with a load of art, then headed back down on Saturday, then back up here on Monday, and just working like crazy to get the gallery, well, first to tear it apart and take everything down, move the pieces that we had here previously around and insert new artwork and get things ready for the new season. I'll have a lot more to say about that next week as we get into it, but we are grinding to an open here. We've had a soft opening. We've already had our first couple of sales up here for the season, so we'll have some updates probably next week as we are actually fully into gear. Today's session, though, is our opportunity to talk about your successes and setbacks. And again, for those of you who may be newer in the Art Business Academy, it's been a little while since we've had one of these sessions. The Friday morning sessions are really an opportunity. Obviously, we do a number of different things, but one of the main things we do is come together and share knowledge and answer your questions. Today's session will be an opportunity to do a little bit of that, but it's a little more than that in that we like to kind of see how the application of the principles that we're learning and employing in the Art Business Academy is affecting our fellow artists, what's working, what isn't working. And it's an opportunity, hopefully, to instill a little bit of a sense of community here and realize you're not in this process alone, that other artists have been through circumstances, both victorious and failures, just as you have. And this is an opportunity to do that. So from time to time, we like to have one of these sessions. And so with that, we're going to jump right in. And today, I don't have a tremendous number of successes and setbacks, but we have some good ones. And I'm hoping to get you involved in helping respond to some of these. And that will be the case with this first one from Brenda. Brenda says, and let me get her comment up here. She says, my recent lengthy surgery recovery has done a great job of killing my workflow, positive frame of mind, and I feel quite discouraged. Do you have any suggestions for getting back in the swing? I'm not yet able to paint as much as I was before surgery, and this is a frustration. I find myself second guessing my motives for contacting galleries, posting, or much else. I do know I'll eventually get out of this slump, but suggestions for helping it along would be appreciated. Some of the discouragement I feel is due to having not sold anything since November. I suppose some of the reasons have to do with the lowered activities related to my surgery and recovery time, but it is still frustrating. And yes, Brenda, it sounds very frustrating. And I would love to have some of you, I would suspect that many of us have been through a similar situation where it could be external circumstances, it could just be our emotional state, where we feel like we've gotten out of the swing of things, out of both the creative groove, the sales aren't coming, the business just is not moving forward, and it just feels like you are pushing that proverbial stone up the mountain and just not making any progress, and in fact, maybe even rolling backwards. And so I wonder, what would you say to Brenda from your experience? What has helped you come out of those, either a recovery or a challenging circumstance, or what advice might you give that might be of help? And if you want to throw a hand up and hop in or click on the hand icon, let me go to Kate first, and then I'll go to Helen, and I see many other hands coming up, so we'll get an opportunity.
Okay, I would just say don't let go of not having made sales since November. Just chill out on that. I know what it's like because I just came off of 2 years of caregiving where my brain was just there. But one of the things I started doing was I started doing little things. Like I started up again on my Instagram account, which made me feel like I was getting something done. Maybe it doesn't have to be art related, but more the business stuff. So you're not hurting your arms. You're not having to be super creative. That's what I would suggest, and be patient with yourself.
Yeah, I think that is great advice. To me, what you're describing, Kate, is a little bit like a case of insomnia, where you start thinking, why am I not sleeping? And that just puts you into this cycle where it keeps building on itself and you can't do it. And much like that, as we start beating ourselves up over productivity or creativity, it's not constructive to that mindset. So just don't worry about it. Let it go. I agree. Great advice. Helen, let me pull you in.
Yeah, I can't say I've had that too often, but when I do hit a dry spell creatively, can you hear me?
Yep, gotcha.
When I do hit a dry spell creatively, I haul out the sketch pad. Now, I always do drawings before I do a painting anyway, to test the composition and see if it works and see if it's really worth my effort. But that seems like a low commitment. If a drawing doesn't work out, it's not like I started a painting and it was a bomb. And so I would just start sketching. And if you start sketching and drawing something and you get inspired by it again, that alone can just fire up the creative juices. So that's what I would do.
Yeah, just start working even at the smallest level to build a little bit of momentum in the right direction, positive direction. Brilliant advice, good advice. What else? What other comments might you give? What other suggestions might you give? Laura, let me go to you.
One of the things that inspires me to create art is to read books about art. It could be anything. It could be biographies of artists, or it could be, actual monographs where you're studying somebody's work and every page is a wonderful image. So that's something that kind of fires me up. Maybe it would work for her.
Yeah, go to a museum, visit some art online, take some, recharge those batteries. Great advice. Other suggestions? Anyone else with an idea? How we go? Helen, hop back in and then let me go to Carla.
Another thought is there are a lot of online art courses at the moment by very good artists. That's one of the benefits that's come out of this whole pandemic. Maybe just invest a little bit in taking a course just to work with other artists and get creative again and try something a bit new.
New and different. I love that idea. Again, thinking of the momentum that can come from just getting pushed off and to start creating again. If you want to create. Carla.
Well, when it happens to me, I've been taking care of my mom for a really long time. She's 100 and a half. So,
wow.
Yeah, so
that's 150 years old, right, Carla?
Oh, that's right. So the doctor asked me that. It's 106 months. So
wow.
Anyway, a lot of that and not being able to get to work. But I started cleaning my studio and putting things in order. And then I went back to some of my sculptures, because I make the found pieces, the found things, and I put them together. Well, anyway, I went back and redid a few. So that got me going. And so now I'm back on a schedule where I think, I better fix this, or, I got a better idea from that. So it worked great.
Yeah. Yes. Getting your house in order, so to speak, just can help put your brain in a different state and get things rolling. A great suggestion. Jeannie, let me go to you.
I did approximately what Carla did. I didn't clean up. I wasn't motivated to do that, but I took out my old paintings and just let one catch my eye and studied it for a while, what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, what it meant to me, kind of analyzed it. And that kind of sparked my brain into what I was going to do next.
Good. Yeah. Great suggestion as well. Anyone else want to hop in with any last thoughts on that one? And hopefully, Brenda, That gives you some good starting points. Let me go to, I think it's Linda. Do I have you there? Yeah.
Having gone through some recent health challenges, I know that with that comes a level of fatigue and depression that's not central to the art. It really does make everything else difficult. So what I found important was sometimes to let go of the art, refocus on other things that I can do, like take lots of walks, get exercise, play with my dog, things that are low impact and don't require much commitment. So when I find myself able to do those things, then I can get back into the arts by turning my focus away for a while. Then it comes back to me at some point.
Yeah, great. Take care of yourself. In other words, I think that, boy, there just can't be enough emphasis on the importance of taking care of yourself, giving yourself what you need. And I probably shouldn't go without mention here that, if it is a really deep, dark, something that you haven't been in before, it certainly could not hurt to talk to a professional, a therapist, or someone in the field that could help, give you some tools and resources and help you work through those challenges. Our health is vital, both physical and mental. We just want to make sure that we're in the right place. And there's just, again, there is no shame here, and we have all had, to some extent or another, experiences like this. And so, encourage you to seek the help that you need and be forgiving of yourself and just pushing forward. But I would also say that I'm a little envious of you all. It seems to me that you're doing something in creating art that has a natural tendency to pull you forward and can lift you there. So create. Thank you, and thank you for all of those suggestions. Let me go to both a success and setback from Stephen, and let me just pull through these. Success, I've had both visual art and music as mediums of expression. I continue to try to integrate the visual and oral into art expression. Historically, pictures at an exhibition by Mazursky, Nocturne in Blue and Silver, The Criminal Lights by Whistler are examples. In 2019, I had an idea of using a specific piece of music as a basis for a visual expression of the music. The music was improvised in 1973 at Notre Dame Cathedral, which makes 2023-24 the 50th anniversary. I met with excited approval from musicians, artists, general public sampling. There are already scheduled events, a one-person gallery show local in November 2023, a full-fledged performance in 2024. So Stephen, congratulations. Sounds like you've got some exciting things coming up. The setback, anything web and social media related has not worked in terms of exposure. I've resorted to phone calls, mail notes, and emails that require the receiver, if they ever open it, to stop and respond for an upcoming launch event. I can't seem to get a hold of the process and terms. The internet has been an active enemy almost from day one. Again, I suspect that these are sentiments that we can also all empathize with, that there can be exciting successes and forward motion and sales and exposure. And there's just also always going to be these challenges of things that don't work. And I highly suspect that many of us can sympathize with the web and social media not bringing the results that we would hope to see them bring. And that it can feel like you're throwing this effort away and wasting time and energy. I have some thoughts there, but let me pull those of you who are here. How would you respond to Stephen in terms of this challenge of social media and web not really seeming to bring the desired results? What encouragement might you give, or suggestions would you give to him? Going once. Joyce, let me go to you, and then I'll go back to Helen.
Yeah, I would stick with it. I just wouldn't put as much time into it as you are. That happened to me, and what I did was I finally realized I was spending so much time trying to promote myself on social media, and it really wasn't working that well, and I wasn't getting the results. But I still do some of it. I only devote maybe a half an hour a week or something and make a couple posts and then put them up. You can't fight it.
Yes.
It's just something, it's not working, but it's working for other people. So you hate to give it up.
Yeah, and it is. And again, it's the same kind of challenge where if you're not seeing the success, it's easy to feel like, well, there's something wrong with me, or I'm doing it wrong, or, why isn't this working? And, that can then lead to additional insecurities in our art business and even in the creative process. And I would agree. We need to be careful about setting our expectations and also setting some goals of what we want to achieve. We have talked about social media extensively here, and I've mentioned a couple months ago, we did a whole session on social media, and I'm working right now and have been working along with everything else that we have going on some, what I would call concrete step-by-step, a step-by-step approach to social media that I'm going to be sharing hopefully later this summer, obviously with everyone here, that will hopefully help maybe set more realistic expectations of social media and give you an action plan. So stay tuned for that. Helen, I know you have used social media successfully, and so I wonder what you might say to Stephen and what suggestions you might give.
It's in a similar vein. He said it didn't give me the expected results. Well, what were the expected results? That's the first question. Two thoughts. Number one, and we've discussed this in the past, it's a long game. You have to build up a lot of interest in followers to find the one or two or three people who are going to buy or seek a commission or anything. So it's not a quick fix for sales. The other thing is, another benefit from social media, I'm thinking about selling, is for me, it's a really good gauge of how a painting strikes people. I mean, I put out a post or two a week showing a painting, maybe an older one, maybe a newer one. And some of them, yeah, they're nice and people like them. And some of them just light up the screen. And it tells me something. And I look at who's reacting to them by the demographics. And it just gives me insight, the way some people get when they go to a gallery show and see people react. So set your expectations for social media, and it can work in that way as well.
Yeah, great suggestion. It really is an opportunity, and I would suspect that many of you feel like you're working in the studio in a kind of vacuum where you don't really know, is what I'm creating going to be of interest? How are people going to respond to it? And as Helen suggests, social media can be a great tool to have that kind of elevated engagement directly with collectors, to hear what they're saying. Again, there can be a lot of opportunities there. I do understand, though, Stephen, the frustration that you would feel. And I can just tell you that, here we are at Xanadu Gallery, and we spend many thousands of dollars every year on social media. And that's not even including the time that myself and my staff spend on it. And I would guess that 85% to 90% of what we try on social media doesn't work in the way that maybe we would have initially hoped it would, leading directly to sales and making it, moving the business significantly forward. But we're also learning from all of that and becoming more and more effective. And so I agree 100% with Helen that we really have to look at social media, as we do every other aspect of our business, as a long game where we're thinking in long term. If we're looking for, yes, we can get some immediate satisfaction and interaction, but results are definitely going to be more of a long-term process with social media, as with all other marketing, as with working with galleries. And so just make that commitment to stick with it in the long run. Let me go to a comment from Jacqueline. Jacqueline, I have you here. I'm going to go ahead and read because I've got an image as well with this. Let me pull it up. And Jacqueline, you mentioned I started submitting my portfolio to galleries about a year ago. I was hoping to obtain representation in at least one gallery in the East, one in the Midwest, and one in the West. I'm happy to say I've been accepted into one gallery in the East and one in the Midwest. One of the galleries has sold 2 paintings. Shopping in the Rain, seen below, and one of the Grand Canyon. In addition, I have just had more paintings accepted to a gallery in Sedona, Arizona. I feel I've attained the goal I set for myself when I started submitting portfolios. This doesn't mean I will not continue to submit to galleries, but at least I feel a lot more confident. So Jacqueline, we have to stop right here and give a big shout out and congratulations on those efforts. And Jacqueline, I have to pull you in again because I just can't. I think we've even talked about this before in these sessions, but I remember some emails you and I had back and forth where you were saying, this just isn't working. I'm submitting to galleries. They're not responding. You know, what do I do? And Jacqueline, tell us what you did. Oh, let me get you unmuted here. Do I have you? Oh, no, still, let's try one more time.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Got you now.
Yeah. I just continue to send, just continue to send out, submit my portfolio and all the other things to galleries, and followed up. And a lot of them didn't respond until the actual second follow-up. So it was just a matter of just continuing to move forward. My work is predominantly figurative, even though I do some landscape paintings, and I just felt that it would be kind of more receptive on the eastern part of the world. And so I managed to get into a gallery in Georgetown, Washington, in the DC area. And that's where I've sold 2 paintings so far. There's one in the Midwest at Cincinnati, Ohio, and then the one in Sedona is just very, very recent. It was like just this last weekend.
Yeah, it's awesome. And, and boy, I mean, there's just so much to pull out of that. The importance of being persistent and doing the follow-up. And even when it's not feeling like it's moving in a positive direction, I think also, and I've had several of you comment on this in a variety of formats where you've said, but Jason, I'm doing figurative work, and figurative work just isn't that prevalent in the art market, and people aren't as interested in it. Do I give up? What do I do? Or some variation of that. I'm doing abstract work, or I'm doing surreal work. And again, I just cannot emphasize enough how important it is to have a broad perspective of the art market and to realize that there's just such a diversity of interests and taste out there, that with persistence, and sometimes it's going to take a lot of persistence. I just had an email this week from an Art Business Academy member who I don't see here, but who again has been working on this a long time and had not seen galleries and has finally broken through that barrier. Hopefully we'll see an email from her in an upcoming session talking about this. But again, boy, I think we're gonna go back to Helen's word, long game. We can't give up. We cannot give up. We've got to keep pushing, keep being persistent. And so, Jacqueline, congratulations to you for being persistent and for starting to see those results. We'll look forward to hearing how the relationships blossom and the sales that come from that. And of course, I would agree with you. Okay, you've achieved your goal, one on the East Coast, one in the Midwest, and one in the Western US. Awesome. Now it's time to set a new goal and find additional targets and keep pushing forward. The name of the game is that forward motion, that momentum that we're building, and we'll look forward to hearing of your future successes. Congratulations. And let me go to Kate. Kate, again, I've got you here, but let me pull in your comment. And this one, again, I'm somewhat more intimately familiar with parts of this because I was involved in it. But Kate says, I've sold 3 paintings so far this year. So we're going to stop right there and give a shout out and congratulations on the sales. And 2 of them were through the Xanadu catalog. The 3rd was through Instagram. So again, there's a testament for social media as well. I got caught with 2 paintings, which were the most recent ones without signatures and varnish, but my friend shipped them to me so I could finish them. All went well, and I delivered the paintings to the client in person. So I've been getting signatures and varnish on everything in my studio, so they are good to go. Yes, good idea to be prepared, right? The setback was the insane cost of shipping. It cost $368 to ship a 24 by 30 painting from Butte Northwest Indiana. That included a $165 charge for large packaging and turned out to be abysmal. Had a huge art shipping box that I wanted to get rid of, so I'll pack the latest sales and have UPS pick it up. It looks like Uline sells boxes in 5-packs, so I'll be stocking up on those. Yes, well, let's take a pause here and talk about some of the frustrations that can come with shipping. I worked with Kate on the pieces that sold through the catalog, and it can just be frustrating, to run into huge unexpected charges. And I will say that we are even seeing, obviously, with the current state of inflation and fuel prices and surcharges, that shipping certainly is becoming an increased expense. What I would say is a few things. One is that I would be careful not to be too hard on ourselves when we have a situation where things didn't go exactly as we would have liked them to go. We needed to ship this artwork and we had to get it to a UPS store and they packaged it up and it ended up being far more expensive than we would have anticipated it being. Yeah, that's disappointing. And it eats into our profit margin, but it's also, it's a learning experience, right? Where we've gained some experience from that at an admittedly high cost, but we've gained some experience that's going to help us when we go into the next sale to realize that maybe we need to look at some other options or look for other ways that we can package and ship. And that wisdom and experience and knowledge offsets the unexpected costs that can come your direction. And, I will say even we sometimes at the gallery run into circumstances where and in fact, we're in the middle of one right now where I've got a large piece that just sold this week from Scottsdale that's going to need to be shipped. And normally, if I were in Scottsdale, I could be involved in that process and maybe even take care of some of the labor. I'm not there, so we have to take it to the shipper and it's going to be more expensive to ship it. And you know what? We just say that's the way it is. It's not optimal, but I got to get it done, and sometimes to get things done, we just have to deal with added expenses and roll with it. And, hope that with the next sale, we'll be able to handle it even a little bit better. And I wonder, Kate, any additional comments you want to throw in there? Or
it was so stupid because the box that they used was 47 by 36, right? So the painting is 36. So you would think they would be parallel. He just dropped this 36-inch long painting into the bottom of the 36-inch. And, no padding, maybe like that much. So it just made me think I've got to figure out another way because I can do a much, much better job of packing. Not to mention this guy was really rude to my friend about it. So
yeah,
I know what works for packing, and I'm just now that once I get that big honker out of my studio, I'll have a lot more room for the boxes from Uline. So
yeah, and it's worth mentioning that as we build relationships with galleries, as we start to see an increase in the volume of sales, as we're working with galleries in different parts of the country and working directly with clients, maybe through social media or email list, it is an inevitable impact of all of that we are going to need to become somewhat, at least, either logistics experts, or we're going to need to find a partner who can be that logistic expert for us, a shipper or provider who can help us. We want to think, and I think the outside world thinks this way, oh, you're an artist. How fun, how exciting. It must just be wonderful to be an artist. All you do is, you're in the studio being creative all the time. And it's all joy and happiness and roses all the time. And you say, yes, that is true. It is great. It is fun. But if you could peel it back and see everything else that's involved in terms of supplies and art materials and, canvases and casting sculpture and all of that, and then everything that comes on the other end in terms of handling the logistics, you realize, as I start to take this seriously, it is a full-fledged business where I've got to think about my supply chain. I've got to think about distribution and maintaining inventories and all of those kinds of things. And instead of thinking that as of that as a drag or an unpleasant part of the process, I would encourage us to embrace it. This is an opportunity for me to mix things up in my life and learn new skills, or build partnerships again with people who can help me, and that actually the business can become enjoyable and fun as you start to get that experiences and that experience and learn how to manage things better with each subsequent experience. So Kate, I think it's all congratulations on the sales, congratulations on learning some things about supply chain and logistics and signing and all of those kinds of things. And it just puts you in a position to do even better next time around. So congratulations.
It really encouraged me to start moving on things. And, the way I see it, artists are entrepreneurs if they want to market their stuff.
Yes.
And the last job I had, I was like, I never want to work for anybody else ever again. So
yeah,
here I am.
Yeah, and now you're working for yourself, and yes, there is going to be some work there, but we can handle it. And again, I hope you will realize that you have a resource available to you, and that whenever you run into a logistics situation or a shipping situation, I am no more than an email away from hopefully being able to help you work through those and answer those questions and figure things out. So don't hesitate to reach out on those questions. Let me go to a comment from Beverly, and I think I managed to only get part of this because I'm not seeing a pronoun here at the beginning, but it says, had a successful open studio event in our town where our studio had more than 500 visitors. And I was able to tell stories of my artwork to these visitors who included local and national politicians. I'm very pleased with the practice of talking about the artwork and with the exposure. Awesome, Beverly. Congratulations on a successful event and drawing a large audience. We'd love to hear more about it. Hopefully you were able to get some email addresses and contact information. Often with these events, it's the follow-up and the name recognition that you have built and the experience you built that can ultimately lead to sales. But it's awesome that you're able to have this experience. And yeah, we spend some significant time in the lessons and in these Friday sessions talking about the importance of your artist statement, artwork descriptions and statements. And all of that effort that you put into thinking about and formulating and writing your artwork statements, that is going to put you in a position where you're prepared for an event like this. A lot of what we're doing here is that kind of preparation so that when the opportunity presents itself, we're ready. And so good job on doing that. And again, we'll look forward to hearing what the long-term results are from that experience. This from Ellen, and Ellen, I got the email. There was an image with it, but I was scrambling to get the slides ready and did not get the image in with it. But here is the story. And I would suspect that some of us can empathize with this experience. Ellen says, a few years ago, I gave an 8x10 painting to a friend. The title of the painting is Making Friends. A few weeks ago, I got a call from a man who told me he was calling to tell me he liked a picture he bought named Making Friends. I asked him where he found the painting, and he said, a thrift store. He said he thought it was a beautiful painting. He wanted to tell me how much he enjoyed it. I was hurt that my friend gave the painting to a thrift store, but I'm happy it found a home where someone will appreciate it. Ouch. Yes, I think we understand the pain there. And again, let me pull you in. I wonder what comments you would have for Ellen. How should we respond to this? And by the way, there's just a variety of ways that something like this can happen. We might overhear someone else talking about our work in an unflattering way. There's just this challenge that can come when our work is out there, and sometimes we're going to get something like this to happen where we're not going to feel very flattered or excited about how it happens. So Joyce, let me pull you in with your comment first.
That happened to me too. And I just couldn't understand. They wrote me a note in for my website and told me about it. And it was a print. It wasn't the original. And I felt terrible. I can't imagine how you felt for an original. That would tear me apart. So
Yeah.
it's
And so, but here's the question, Joyce. Have you recovered? Have you moved on? Is it something you think about every day to this day?
no.
No.
It just hurt because it was a friend of mine, and someone else bought it, but it just, I don't know.
It rubs us the wrong way, right? I mean,
It does, because she had the print, and it was a hard thing to get over, but within a couple weeks I put it out of my head.
Okay, good. And did you ever mention it to the friend?
No, I never mentioned it because I just felt like,
Yeah, what would it bring?
It was her decision to do it. There wasn't anything I could do about it.
Yeah, good. Okay, Yildiz, I think you might have had a comment. Let me get you to unmute there. There we
Yes.
go.
I guess there is something good and bad about it. It's not just bad, really. It's great that it found the right home. That's very positive, in my opinion. I would still mention, though, I would not just let go. It is that person's decision, but still they should know that I know about it, and I will make it more like on a positive. I know what you've done, but I'm so happy how it ended, kind of. I will tell them, I realize that that's what you did. And the thrift shop, unfortunately, that's the only part I'm not happy about. But I'm so glad someone who appreciated owns it now, and my painting found the right home. That I will let them know, let that person, that friend know about it.
Yeah. They're going to pay a little bit of a price. They know, and I'm sure they'll be quite chagrined to know that and they'll know that they have done something that they shouldn't have done. Michelina, let me pull you in.
It's not to change what happened, but let them know and just pass it, keep going.
Okay, good.
Okay, I'm always hesitant to gift a painting because it's so personal. Like, it's so subjective. Maybe the person I'm gifting it to doesn't really like it. So I think you have to be careful about gifting your paintings. I'm always hesitant about it because I'm not really sure that they really like it,
Yeah, that is a very interesting point. And obviously we now have some evidence in this particular case that, well, no, apparently it was not the piece of art maybe that they would have chosen on their own, or so it's a good point. I have given art as gifts, but likewise, I'm usually going to try and give something that feels fairly universal, maybe not large, and just a smaller piece. And once you've given something away, you are in a position now where you're open to this. That they may not resonate with it. And I would just say, if it were me, I'm not like Yildiz, I probably would just let it roll on and not say anything. But boy, I'm drowning here. I can't handle this one because I am a diplomat at heart. And this is a very challenging diplomatic situation where, I've been hurt by something and it's a friend who's done the hurting. And how do I resolve that and get out of it? And my natural tendency is to just take it on the chin and move forward and try to put it out. But it's easy to understand how something like this could fester if we're not careful about it. Anyone want to hop in with additional thoughts here, or how you might handle this situation? Joyce, come back in.
That they sent it to a thrift shop. That's like your trash
Yeah,
where,
Don't-
you know, where you don't give any.
Yes,
It would have
That-
been so much better had they just returned it to the
it's
owner
back, yeah.
and say, you know, I'm really not doing this painting or print any justice. Why don't I give this back to you and, you know, have someone else, give it to someone else.
yeah.
That's the thing. It was the thrift shop that
Yeah.
bothered me the most.
Yeah, agreed.
I agree.
Linda, let me pull you in.
Yeah, my dad was a California scene painter, and my brother is handling his estate. And every once in a while, my brother contacts me, and we get these things from people that they've picked up in thrift stores. Yeah, my dad isn't huge, but he's not nobody either.
Yeah,
And they you know try to say, well, even though his name is a little unusual, there are a lot of people out there with the same name. It's amazing. But we usually just deny it. I mean, for Pete's sake, they picked it up for nothing. Why should we attribute value to it?
yeah. Yes, we get those calls as well. And here's what's happening. Someone has wandered into a thrift store or a yard sale or something like that. And they've picked up a piece of art and they have seen the Antique Roadshow. And so they know that they have picked up an invaluable treasure at this thrift store or this yard sale. And they are so excited that they paid $10 for something and they know that it's probably worth hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And so we take at least 2 or 3 of these phone calls a week in the gallery. And it is just so frustrating, you know, to have to explain to them that, first of all, we don't know who the artist is, or if it's an artist that we represent, that they should enjoy the piece. But, you know, it is the vast majority of instances, it's not worth hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. And what did you expect? You paid $10 for it at a thrift store. You think that someone would have put it there? You know, if it had a tremendous value to them, probably not. And so, you know, Ellen, I would just say it's painful, but, you know, maybe feel the pain for a little bit, feel it fully. You know, maybe we can make a voodoo doll of your friend and put some pins in it to help ourselves feel better about the situation and just get it out of our system and move on. You know, there's just nothing positive ultimately that can come from focusing on that part of it. I think you've done the right thing by thinking that, okay, now someone has it, they've expressed their joy to you. Let's focus on the joy that art is going to bring into their life for years to come, and move on. Let's roll forward from there. That's actually all of the comments that I had for this session. Anyone else want to hop in with a recent success, setback? Joyce, let me pull you in.
Okay. I had mentioned that I had gotten into a gallery in Greensboro, and there was a couple things that came up that I really don't know how to address. One is, well, I had given the person that was there that day when I dropped off the work, the owner wasn't there. I gave her a contract, and I said, you know,
They didn't have one of their own.
She had looked in the files and stuff and didn't see one. So I said, okay, I'll leave this contract. So then the owner did write me and say she had a contract. So when I went back over there to drop off a couple more pieces, she gave me a copy of it. And one of the things that is there is she has 2 annual sales each year, one around Christmas time and one a sizzling summer sale. And their annual sales, 25% off all artwork in the store, which kind of doesn't make me feel very good about that.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't like 25%. And I told her that in person. I said, gee, you know, I wouldn't even give a discount for 25%. You know, 20% is my bottom line. So she mentioned that that would be okay, but I really don't like annual sales because people wait to buy
Yes.
at an annual sale, you know, especially if you have the same ones year after year at the same time. And I really don't know how to address that.
Yeah, so this is, and we emailed a little bit about this, and I agree with you. And you all have heard me talk about, and I've written about on red.blog, that I likewise don't see the wisdom in hosting events like this. You're training your customers that they should wait to buy. Why would I buy something in May when I know, or even in April, when I know that in June, your summer sizzling sidewalk sale is coming up, and you know, there's going to be an opportunity to buy this piece of artwork at, you know, at 3/4 of the price. It just seems very counterproductive to your long-term sales strategy. You know, and in essence, you are devaluing the work the rest of the year, making it harder to make sales. Now, having said that, and Joyce, let me ask you this: has this gallery been around for a while?
Not for a long time. I don't feel that she's real professional. I'm in it because it's the first one, you know, in a while.
Yeah.
And, you know, I thought and there is a guy that's represented by her that is very popular. So, you know, I figure,
yeah,
he must know something. So, you know, I'm kind of riding that wave, but.
Yeah, and so I think you're right to do that. And my suggestion, you know, it's hard for me to be objective about something like this, right? Because I have a gallery, I have very strong opinions about that kind of that sale idea, and so you know, it's hard to step back and say, well, maybe she's onto something for her market. Maybe she knows something about her clientele that I don't know. And if she's continued to have these events, they must be leading to some kind of volume in sales. And there, you know, certainly there could be something to be said. For all I know, she has these 2 events, and those 2 events generate enough sales to make the gallery and all of her artists happy, and that they feel like, therefore, it is worth the discount that they're giving and the potential dampening of sales leading into those events. And so I can't say. I would say that I think you're doing the right thing in riding that wave a little bit and see what happens. See what the first sale and the second sale are like, and does it lead to an increase in your sales? And, you know, yes, it does hurt to give a discount, especially one that's that deep. And you know, we're already somewhat working on tighter margins with increased costs and shipping, as we've discussed earlier. But there also is something to be said for volume of sales. And if you can see a dramatic increase in the volume of your sales and, you know, get your work out to a larger range of collectors and have them become more interested and engaged in your work and now invested in your work, maybe she'll prove us wrong. Maybe she'll prove that this model that she's come up with, the 2 annual sales, is a great idea for her and for her market, and the business that she's running. Let's wait and see. I guess what I would say is, I don't see a downside to this that is so deep and dark and black that it would make me say, oh, nope, I'm out of here. I don't want to participate. I don't want to be involved with this gallery. I just see it as being suboptimal for the long run. But let's see what happens. Let's roll through. You know, the summer sale must be coming up, right? And then maybe we see how the winter one goes. And if it's not generating volume of sales, then I think it's another equation where you have to say, okay, are there sales coming in the rest of the year? Is it worth staying with this gallery when I have to put up with these 2 sales each
Yeah,
year, and
I guess
that changes.
I wouldn't mind if it was 1 maybe, but 2
Yeah,
is just a bit much, and especially at Christmas time, because I think people go to, galleries and stuff to buy gifts for. But the second thing is, I don't think she does a lot of advertising, and I don't think she has a newsletter either. And I wonder, because she had mentioned to me, she just mostly does Instagram,
Yeah.
which is, you're not getting a lot of publicity. So I'm wondering, how can I word that to ask her about what her marketing plans are?
Yeah, okay. And we've had, I think, some questions kind of around this over the last several months and have talked about this where, as we're beginning to work with a gallery, it very much is a partnership. You're agreeing to allow them to have valuable inventory from you on consignment. They are agreeing to show that work and sell it. And that partnership can be a very successful partnership and can lead to good business outcomes for both of you.
Mhm.
The question becomes, as a partner in this relationship, where are the boundaries of what I can suggest to a gallery owner, how much feedback I can give, that won't potentially trip up the relationship or have the gallery owner feel like I'm overstepping my bounds. And I think, especially in the initial phases of working with a gallery, my encouragement would be to take a wait and see approach. Let's see how this gallery's marketing efforts work. Let's see what kind of sales result from those efforts. I would like them to have a newsletter. I would like them to be more actively marketing and promoting their artists. But, I've mentioned it here before that I know some gallery owners who do. I know a gallery owner in Idaho who doesn't even have a website and has 0 social media presence. He's a bit of an old timer in terms of the art business, has been in the business for 40 years. Even a little longer than that now. And by virtue of the relationships and the reputation he has in the community, he has been able to get by without engaging online or social media because he's just able to generate enough business for himself and for his artists. Very successful business, I may mention. It's not just that he's getting by. He has a very successful gallery and sells a lot of artwork. I guess if I had the opportunity, I might ask him, well, could you be selling even more if you were doing more? And I suspect the answer would be yes. But that's just not him. He is not an online kind of guy. And so, I'm sure his artists would prefer to have more of a presence online and that he was more proactive that way. But, they see the checks roll in especially through the summer season. And they're just, willing to say, well, in this particular partnership with this particular gallery, this is how it works. And he's able to make it work. And so I would hold off, Joyce. I would take a wait and see. I'm starting to show with this gallery. They have some inventory. Let's see how their season goes. What happens with these sales? Let's see if maybe the Instagram marketing that they're doing is successful. Let's see. And then as you get into the relationship, and you're now a year into the relationship. And maybe now you also have some additional galleries showing your work. That then puts you in a position where you can say, appreciate the work that you're doing to show me. I can't help but think I'm showing with the gallery, in St. Louis that is doing a lot of social media marketing or has a very active email newsletter. Have you ever thought about expanding your efforts? And kind of, you're in a different point in the relationship than you are right now at the very beginning. So I would hold off a little bit and just let's see how she does. Let's see what the response is to your work. Let's see how the sales go. And then, as with every gallery relationship, it's a constant process of evaluation and adjustments and seeing how it works. And ultimately, if it does work, you just continue in that relationship and try to optimize it. And if it doesn't work, you find another gallery that can do a better job for you and can generate more sales. Anyone want to hop in on that one with an additional comment? Got just a few minutes left, and I now have a hard finish because on Fridays I'm alone in the gallery, so 10 a.m. I got to be opening that front door. But any other comments you want to get in with? Any other suggestions, thoughts, successes, setbacks? Going once. All right. I think we're going to call it a week then. Thank you for sharing. My hope is that these sessions, we do them every several months. Again, it's just that it helps reinforce what we're learning, and my hope is that as you see other artists having success, that it's encouraging you to continue the fight, to continue pushing forward, to continue building your business. And again, as you see other artists who are struggling with particular issues, that it can help you overcome your own. So thank you so much for joining us for this session. We will be back here next Friday for another Q&A session. Keep an eye out for the email. We'll look forward to seeing you then. Keep creating, be well.